Year 8, and welcome to your new history lessons. This is what they're going to be like for the foreseeable future. To the half of Year 8 that I do teach, hi, 8M and 8L, and to 8D and 8E, welcome. I am Miss Warby, and we're going to be finding out about the Great Fire of London. You received a link to this video, but you also received a link to a YouTube video that I wanted you to watch and answer a couple of questions about. So I would like you to, if you haven't already, watch that video and answered those questions in your exercise book, go and do that now. So pause this video, go and answer those questions. If you have, then well done, I'm very impressed. I would like you to get a green pen out, a green pen, and we are going to go through some of those answers together. So you're going to mark it as you go through. Question number 1. Who wrote about the Great Fire of London? That would be Samuel Pepys. Many people wrote about it. This man here is very important for chronicling the events. Question number 2. Identify 3 words you would use to describe the fire. Now, I'm not going to give you a specific 3 words that you should use, as long as they're along the lines of terrible, terrifying, tragic, aggressive, things like that, then they will be acceptable. Question number 3, how did people respond to the fire? Now, there's a couple of different responses to it, but obviously people were terrified. People were very unhappy, very emotional about the fact that London seemed to be burning down. Also, I would argue that some people didn't have a clue what was going on. So you could add confusion to that mix as well. Question number 4, where did it start? That would be Pudding Lane in London. And if you go there today, there is a monument to the Great Fire of London that is very interesting. Hopefully, when we all get out of quarantine, you might be able to go and visit it. Okay, where are we now? Question number 5, what were people doing in reaction to the Great Fire of London? Now, this one's a little bit strange because people started throwing their belongings into the Thames, which I think nowadays we wouldn't really do. If we saw a fire, we wouldn't chuck our stuff into the local swimming pool. But people clearly thought this was a way of protecting their belongings. So, following on from that previous question, we are coming to question number 6. Was going onto the river a good idea, do you think, to try and escape the fire? Now, the video says no. Why was that? I have put an explanation that there was lots of debris from the fire falling onto the Thames. So people were being hit not only with, bits of house, bits of wood, bits of brick, but it was also ablaze. So they're being hit with flaming bits of house, which I don't know about you, but I wouldn't really want that landing on my head. So moving on, number 7. What important London site did the fire attack? Now that is St Paul's Cathedral. It was rebuilt after the Tower of London, but one of the iconic pictures that people remember or people note about it is that there was smoke billowing around St Paul's Cathedral. Question number 8, what century did the Great Fire of London take place in? That would be the 17th century because it's the 1600s and we always add an extra number on for centuries. What happened in 1845? The answer to that is the Great Fire of London was recreated as a fireworks display. And I'm going to throw a bonus question in here at the end because I don't like ending the questions on 9, so I'm going to round it up to 10. What happened to the building in which that fireworks display took place? Any ideas? Yes, it did in fact burn down itself. So a little bit of foreshadowing there for you. Don't pretend to have a fireworks display about the Great Fire of London, otherwise your building will burn down as well. So, mark how many you got correct out of 9. You can add that extra bonus one in as well if you like. And let's have a look at this PowerPoint. So, we are looking at 1666, when the Great Fire of London took place, and it happened obviously in Pudding Lane. So in your book, you need to write the title, The Great Fire of London, 1666, and put whatever date you are doing this lesson on your work, please. So if you're doing it today, that is absolutely fine, put today's date. But if you're doing it a couple of days later, that is also fine. It just gives me an idea of when you were completing this work. So, we have our title written down and we've got some depictions of what the Great Fire of London was looking like. So all very, very dramatic, all very extravagant artwork of how people viewed this terrible event. So, I'm going to pop 2 bits of information up on the PowerPoint. I'd like you to have a read of them, so pause me here and have a little read of this information. Okay, so in your book, could you write down for me then, why do you think the Great Fire of London was such a problem for not only the people of London, but for the fire departments of London? In your book, why was that such a problem? Why was this fire such an issue? Take a look at this picture. See if you can identify the different methods that are being used. Can you see the hooks trying to pull down the buildings? Can you see the buckets being ferried up and down the ladders to try and put the fire out? And here, if you look carefully, you will see that children are being lowered out of the windows in order to save their lives. So lots of different things going on. And here you have civilians just hanging around, just watching the fire burn. And that's something we saw in the video as well, that a lot of people just watched because they had never seen something so chaotic take place in their entire life. Okay, so we have a map of London. Now I'd like you to have a think about how much of this you think was affected by the Great Fire of London. Have a little guess. And I'm going to show you this map. So this is an overlay of what we just saw. You will see that the Tower of London over here thankfully wasn't affected, but you have the city wall. This is this black line going around here. This is the city wall. So the fire goes from inside the city of London all the way and stretches very much into West London. So it's extraordinarily large, and no one would expect any fire to expand to this size because it hadn't happened before. If you can remember from the video, it talked about 4 fires taking place and all congealing into one massive blaze, and that is what we're seeing here. Okay, so we have an extract from Samuel Pepys' diary. Oop. Take a second, read through that information. And in your exercise books, I would like you to write down 2 descriptions you see of the fire from Pepys' words. So these have to be quotes because we're using this as our evidence. Okie dokie. So what I would like you to do to finish off is you could research some extra extracts from Samuel Pepys' diaries to help you do this. But I would like you to imagine you are watching the Great Fire of London from your bedroom window in London. You have to write a diary entry talking about what you can see, hear, taste and smell. Explain what fire breaks are. Now that might be something a little bit interesting that you want to explore. And say what you think about the fire spreading quickly. There are also some sentence starters here that will be really good to draw a little bit more description out of your story. So a diary entry on what you think you would experience if you saw the Great Fire of London outside your bedroom window. Okay, carrying on. So, if you have finished your diary entry, I would like you to answer the following questions. You don't have to write the question out, but you can if you want to. If you are not writing the question out, please answer in full sentences. Okay, just a little bit more information for you before we come to an end. So Christopher Wren is the man who designed St. Paul's Cathedral. He is the architect for this building, and I believe he was the one that rebuilt it after the Great Fire of London. London was rebuilt using a brick material, as before a lot of wood was used, and I think that's what caused the fire to spread significantly further than it would have done. Okay, I know we can't do hands up because I am just talking to the camera, but list in your book 5 things that you have found out about the Great Fire of London. They can be as creative or as basic as you like, but I would like 5 different pieces of information that you have gained. Okay, well, Year 8, that is everything for this lesson. We will be doing one more lesson on the Great Fire of London, and then we will be moving on to the Industrial Revolution. Every time I email you some work, more likely than not, there will be something you have to do before you move on to watching this actual video. So make sure you're up to date with that work, because it will really help you as we go through the PowerPoint. Okay, all the best. Please email myself if you are having any problems. I will be doing year 8 lessons. Mrs. Smith is doing year 7 and 9. So all year 8 questions about history, send them my way. Okay, all the best. Stay safe, stay inside, and I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.